Alrighty, so what am I doing? I don't really know, but it seems to be following a thread. So that's groovy. But all these things follow a thread anyway, so yeah, once you get a bit of a grounding in it. So what are we looking at here? Some sort of demon of the ancient world, some sort of being from the other side. Well, it's a representation, for starters. Demon, perhaps. But we're going to look at some energy points, something, and some representations of something that is beyond the duality, or at least, if we can't intellectually describe it or want to, then at least we have a finger pointing towards that arena where we could possibly have a look. So, tools of the ancients. So we're going to continue with basing this. We'll base this around the lampstand because we'll look at what some representations in the ancient world. I mean, we have the lampstand in Revelations from the Bible, and we have the two witnesses. So we're going to look at the two keys, the two sides of this duality, not just in nature but in consciousness, in that kind of invisible realm. But we're going to give this lampstand a bit of an examination. Yeah, once again, find its representation. So, some people have been doing some research in Egypt and showing parts where awareness seems to be centered in the brain, finding representations of that. I took a look at that myself in some other videos, and I went into other parts of the world, and yeah. So essentially, don't be afraid, Christians, because what you're looking at here, in essence, is part of your own brain. This is actually a brainstem. This stance, you might see, I don't know, Ishtar or any other deity doing this arms out stand. Also a representation of what we're going to see as the trigeminal nerves attached to the brainstem. So we're going to be looking at that as a representation, even in the physical world, as a lampstand, and the two hemispheres of the brain, finding a relationship also with not just physical awareness, but consciousness. And it's these tools, these keys that he's holding, the two sides that become the keys to awareness or understanding, like what you're perceiving, able to, through the lampstand, I guess, direct and mold or unify these things. Okay, so we'll just go through it. That was Viracocha, I think. That's maybe Gateway of the Sun or something. There he is again. So what you're looking at here, all these mini things, it's hard to explain, but they are getting down to the fine detail of reality. I guess it's even a representation of, let's call them like, let's say it's atoms, let's say it's part of the fabric, the makeup of reality. That's what this is really. It's nearly a representation of I don't know, a quantum realm, but a realm of consciousness. You can see it. You'll be, I don't know, for yourself. You can see these things. Like a lot of this stuff, these temples and stuff they designed on, were copied. Like it's pretty much standing on a temple there. The brainstem thing. See how it's like kind of broken off, so it's there's no legs. There's a reason for that. So I don't think I'll need that one. So like I was saying, you got the two hemispheres, and this, it's outlined because it's very similar to the Egyptian, one of their hats there, but very mushroom-like. It's interesting, very interesting. Might have a more interesting one. So yeah, here's what I'm getting at, more towards a lampstand kind of situation with different parts highlighted. I'll give it a further, and here we see another weird demonoid creature. Not really. I won't go into this one, but just an example of, yeah, that's somewhere else. Like we see the ancient designs, that's a statue of Ishtar, and that's also similar representation. Here we go again. Trigeminal nerve stance. That's obviously nothing to do with Viracocha land. Hindu god. Back to Egypt. Bit of Renaissance. Bit of Egyptian headdress base based on the biology. So we're looking at the centers, energy centers, lampstands, physical representations. See the nice hats. Axial cross. Hypothalamus. And there we see the treasure. Like I went over this. Yeah. There's even the Willendorf. So, even Osiris, like, holding these two tools, like, like, has anyone ever tried to research what these even represent? Like, you can get people that theorize, and some sound like decent theory, but not really. Like, so they represent, like, they're tools, but they're tools of, like, consciousness that seem to originate or be strongly associated with Osiris, maybe even Ptah, I think they cross over a bit. What else we got here? So yeah, and we have a few fertility representations, a bit of cloning going on here and shit. Yeah, just an expression of fertility of consciousness as well. This crap is, what am I doing here? So even with like, you'll see always two sides represented in reality. I think this is the dream, the Stella in front of the Sphinx. So you'll see the two kind of like either key masters or gatekeepers either side pulling apart or opening the door, so to speak, and we see in between some nice cross kind of vision. Yeah, but anyway, going back to this lampstand thing, I'll put this aside for now, I guess. And so in the last video I examined the places in between. This one's mine. So we have suns, which is like a light. We also have an eye, which is like awareness. Basic stuff, guys. And the places in between, like it's representing like a non-duality as well. Like we're compartmentalized. We're in probably a left side of awareness, which is non-intuitive. Like time, everything's just so linear. There's minimal connections to the subconscious and the energy bodies, the inorganic or non-organic bodies, which are also a source of energy and can be unified in awareness. Because we are perceived as perception. All it requires is energy to perceive. But there's other factors involved even in perception, like other things perceiving, like like other people around, or so it comes down to power, even just to perceive your own reality. And these things are reached by combining these two tools, and we'll go into a crossover of the hemispheres, what that can produce, because with Osiris, as we've seen, the crossed tools over the chest, over the heart area, which is always represented by the X. Alright, so where was I? Yeah, so the lampstand, and in the last video I showed two hands, pretty much the two sides of awareness, like right and left. I went into the Egyptian model with the Dendera light bulb and the arcs, creating an arc. So here's more of the light bulb theme. It basically just describes the alchemy of it all. Once again, we see the two hand theme here. On this side, this more technological side, where the lampstand is highly technological, where on the other side it's just organic kind of biology. So you can see what's going down really with the cruise. Okay, so another version of the lampstand, probably Sumerian, with the Gigi. See, the Gigi are interesting because yeah, they're plugging in like with these things at the back of the neck, so they seem less. They don't seem as dangerous to use. I don't know what happens when they die, or where they go, or where they're from. But these, I don't know, they might not be entirely non-organic, these energetic beings. But anyway, the lampstand, and we see, yeah, the Godhead, I guess. And like, once again, even those little things, representations, like, we've seen what those represent. Yeah. So there's another one, and there's another example of a lampstand. So it's not just in Revelations, like, yeah, it's not just one man's vision, but it's all a link in the chain. So once again in Egypt, well, yeah, okay, yeah, it's from the tomb of Tutankhamun, and once again, like, we see a theme where this she's presenting like two different kind of floral arrangements here. So she's presenting, like, when you go forth before the God, I guess you're bringing forth your awareness. Sometimes they have just one flower, sometimes they had just approach with palms up, all have meaning, or just one hand palm up, sometimes two palms raised. There's Osiris again. So yeah, here's another example in Egypt of the lampstand. So we also have, like, lampstand. Once again, we go close, we see the two arms. And with the lampstand here, it's usually it's a genetic thing too, like whatever's coupled will give the specifics of the design. So next, I think we'll probably go into, in the next video, the mask, which is fairly Mayan. Well, it is Mayan actually. It's kind of dark, I can't see shiz. So we're going to examine this mask. Some do decode it by using the techniques basically based on these tools of awareness, the two sides, like he flipped them, crossed them, and yeah, we'll see what emerges from these things. And just, yeah, we'll explain the whole design concept is based on these themes, as well as holographic principles and all that. Basically a whole science. Like, if you want to know where the real Popol Vuh went to, it's all encoded in here. Pretty little pop-up pictures.